There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
You're listening to Destination University, a podcast for college-bound teens and the parents, mentors, and educators who support them. If that is you, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, TEDx speaker, college admission strategist, and author of the book, Be Committed, Get Admitted. Welcome to Destination University. We help high school families successfully navigate the college admission process by helping students create an action plan, become interesting applicants, and write compelling essays that increase acceptance letters. As a former admission officer at Vassar College and an elite private school counselor in Los Angeles, I have coached, mentored, guided, and worked directly with over 10,000 students. I know what it takes to get admitted to top 100 colleges. As my gift to you, I'm revealing the exact admission committee process we used at Vassar. It's all in my new guide, 4 questions admission officers ask when deciding who to admit or reject. You can get that at drcynthiacolon.com/admit. In the guide, I share the 4 questions I used in the 12 minutes I had to review an entire application. I give you the order I read the application, what I was looking for, what I highlighted and took note of. If you've ever wondered what admission officers are looking for and how decisions are made, well, today is your lucky day. Again, go to drcynthiacolon.com/admit. Okay, let's get to today's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited that you are here and joining us. And really, more than anything, I'm excited that you are making this a priority for you and for your child and their future, because they count on you to really give them everything that they deserve. And so congratulations on being a rock star parent already. Today, we're going to talk about how to get your child admitted to some of the most competitive dream colleges in the country, no matter your odds or the obstacles in front of you. So type into the chat the number 1 if you are ready and excited to help change the trajectory of your child's life, just like my mom did for me oh so many years ago. Okay. Please tell me you're excited, just as excited as I am. So let me see that chat blowing up. I can kind of just see what's going on, but I can't see your answers. All right, here we go. Yes. All right, I'm glad you're excited to be here. The biggest thing for you to take away more than anything is just that you are here to listen, to learn, and to promise me that you're going to take action with what you learned today. And really, you're becoming the superhero, or what I like to call you. You are dream builders for your child's future. So again, bravo. It's going to feel like you are drinking from a fire hose, just like this poor puppy, or I guess the dog here. And I don't want you to worry. I want you to know that you're going to feel much calmer once today's over, and actually through the course of this challenge. Now, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, who's this crazy lady? She's talking so fast and she's giving me so much information already. I know, I get it. I get super enthusiastic about talking about college admissions and giving information to people who need it. I'm on a mission to close the information gap so that we can help close the education gap. So don't worry, keep calm. I know the countdown is on, and I know you need all the answers, and that's why you're here. I want to have a little rule with you. Let's make a deal. I'm going to use the term dream college several times, and let's just agree that whatever the dream is for your child, that's the fill in the blank, right? So I don't necessarily mean Ivy League. I don't even necessarily mean top 100. Whatever the dream is for your child is worthy of chasing that dream, and it is attainable. So I just want you to stick with me. So can we agree on that? Can you just give a number one in the chat and say, yes, I can agree to that. That's a good rule that we can follow. Good? Let me see you in the chat. Let me see. Oh, I see it. Okay, good. I can see the little number ticking. I just can't see what you're saying. There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, a few years ago, the Wall Street Journal ran an article, and it was about a Texas student. So they called it the Texas rock star. And she was rejected 9 times. She had applied to 11 different colleges, but she was rejected 9 times. Now, she had top grades, top test scores, accolades, school leadership. She had a part-time job. She even was in like 32 plays and musical productions. She had everything you could dream of. There was no reason that she should have been rejected 9 different times in the college admission process. Trust me, you cannot unfeel that amount of rejection. And so if you're like most parents that we work with, please type into the chat a heck yes if you agree with this statement. Please, Dr. C, help me avoid this scenario at all costs. Type in the chat, heck yes, raise your hand, whatever, if you want to make sure that you avoid this. Now, I heard a quote, I'll wait for you to type that in, but I heard a quote from a friend of mine. She said, parents are as happy as their least happy child. I thought that was a profound quote. And trust me, as a parent, you don't want to see your child go through that much rejection. And the truth is, it can be avoided. The other hard truth of this matter is that this type of scenario is not uncommon. Unfortunately, every single year, thousands of perfectly qualified applicants are rejected. And the other hard truth is that the system, the school counselor system that we've used 20 or 30 years ago simply does not work anymore. The reason for that is the number of items that have been placed on the counselor's plate over the last several years is enormous. And college admissions is just one sliver of that. And so the school counselor is a generalist, but she or he is not a college expert. So my goal really today is to help you feel like you've come to the right place. You don't have to wait or hope for the answers that you need, that you have them, and that your community of supporters, we're right here. All you have to do is say yes to listening, learning, and taking action. Do you see a theme here? I want you to become the dream builder in your child's life. Now, you might be thinking, okay, am I in the right place? Who is this for? Did I make a wrong turn? I certainly hope not. But this session, this masterclass, this challenge is really for parents and for students, really, who are status quo rebels. You are challenging the status quo. You are here to give your child a seat at the table. You're here to give your child the leverage they deserve. So all of those things hopefully are true. But there are 2 buckets of parents that are out there right now. So you type into the chat the number 1 if you are a parent who has a child who will be going through the process, college admission process, within the next few months. Literally, you're months away. So that's number 1. You are bucket number 2 if you are a parent who probably has sort of an 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, somewhere in there, a younger student who has big dreams. They have big, wild dreams when they're thinking about college, and they're out to get it. And so you might just be here going, I just need to know this information because my child is dreaming big already. So there's the number 1. If you're going through the process very quickly, and number 2, if you have a little bit of time on your hands. Okay.
Lots of number 1s, some number 2s, some
Oh.
1 and 2.
Lots of number 1s. Okay. Very much expected. So I definitely expected lots of number 1s. Okay. So you are all in the right place. Yay. Okay, so my overall goal is to get you to believe that the only way for you to exponentially increase your child's chances of getting admitted to their dream college is to stop repeating the same action steps of yesteryear and expecting a miracle outcome. It just doesn't work anymore. Today, the only way to gain success is by leveraging our signature 3-step success formula, which I'm going to give you all the tools and things that you need for success. Now, some of you may be wondering, again, who is this woman? Hi, I'm Cynthia Colon, and once upon a time, I worked at Vassar College in the admission office. Now, Vassar is a private college back east, and because of me working there, I was invited by the Gates Millennium Foundation to be one of their first scholarship readers. This is the thing that sticks out to me more than anything. We were flown out to San Francisco and put up in a hotel, and we walked across the street to the building with the bank of computers, if you can believe this. But what sticks out more than anything is while reading the applications, these are top students from across the country, and they had to list where they were applying to college. And by and large, most of them were listing that they were applying to their local public colleges, which was fine, no judgment. But I kept thinking to myself, holy smokes, I don't think these students know just how just how much they would be competitive in an Ivy League competitive pool and an applicant pool. And I just kept thinking, there's got to be more students just like this that simply don't have the knowledge of these colleges. Maybe they don't realize they can have access to these types of colleges, or maybe they just are intimidated and don't want to apply. I didn't know the reason, but I started journaling and writing down tips and strategies for the everyday family, which ended up turning into my book, which later turned into my TED Talk. So that's what sticks out for me, and that's why I'm here on a mission to close the information gap so that we can help close the education gap. Okay. So I did go to USC. That was my dream college. It was my Harvard. Yay. But it really wasn't until I went to Columbia University, which gave me the opportunity to work at a place like Vassar. And when my mom and my sisters came out to New York City for my graduation, and I was scared to tell my mom that I was thinking about taking this job in New York and not going back to California. So I needed her blessing. So we hopped on the train to go up the Hudson River and go to Poughkeepsie, New York. And after taking a tour of this huge campus, we stood there right in front of that building that you see in the picture. It's called Main Building, and it was a May day with all those tulips. And she looked me straight in the eye and she said, "Sin, if you don't take this job, I will." Now, I didn't really understand at the time, but I think my mom, more than anything, has this way of seeing things through the perspective of opportunity. Now, for an immigrant mother, I could only imagine that her standing on this campus, perfectly manicured campus with a golf course in the back, in the back end, and serving high tea in the Rose Parlor. I can only imagine that she was proud. She was feeling feelings of just excitement, and she could see that this was really more than just a job. It was really an opportunity. So I thank her today for giving me her blessing to stay there just a few more years longer. But type into the chat just the word yes if you've ever had that same kind of feeling of, oh gosh, like maybe my dreams, if you're the student, or maybe my kids' dreams, or maybe they're just pipe dreams, or maybe you tell somebody about your dreams and then they think, oh yeah, and they don't really believe you. Or maybe you have been somewhere that you felt like, oh, this is just for the privileged or the well-resourced. This is really not for me. So we're family. You're here, you're part of my family, so it's okay. I want you to know that you're not alone, and that after working with over 10,000 families and 20 years of experience, I have been in that position where I feel that imposter syndrome, but I'm here to tell you we can go through it together. I will hold your hand and make sure that you can get a seat at the table. So for over 17 years, I really had to buckle down and figure this all out before coming out with my first book. But I want you to know that more than anything, more than any of these conversations I had, what I learned through the students, and I hope that this is even one takeaway for you, would be that this process, you don't get any do-overs. You know, so many students, as an educator, I know students, when they get sort of a okay grade on a paper, they'll go to the teacher and say, you know, can I have a shot at redoing this paper and I can turn it in again for a better grade? And I'll never forget, I'll call her Sage. She came into my office, this was at Marymount. She had applied to her first choice school, early decision, and she was denied before Christmas. And not deferred, she was straight out denied. And she came into my office, head hung low, and she said, well, Dr. C, you know, can I reapply in January? And how it just broke my heart to tell her, no, I mean, this is a final decision. So there are no do-overs in this process. So again, bravo to all of you here, and a special bravo to those of you who have younger students and have a couple years in front of you. So yes, you don't have 17 years to crack the code. Most of you don't even have 17 months. So in the next few sessions, I'm going to give you all the tips and strategies you need to get ahead. This session and masterclass is broken up into 3 sections, and today we're going to begin with the holistic applicant secret, and that is broken up into 3 separate parts. So we begin right now, and I hope you're ready. Yay! I hope you're ready. We're going to start with the college admissions is a business. How the U.S. News and World Report influenced admissions. So maybe you wanted a history lesson. So if you haven't already figured this out, you need a pen, you need a paper, you need a drink of choice, because it's coming at you fast and furious. I've already dropped several bombs and golden nuggets. So again, if you are a VIP, you're going to get this recorded and you'll be able to replay it until, you know, the cows come home. For those of you, everybody else, you will get this replay as well, but you'll just have a limited viewing. Okay, so get your pen and paper ready, and also don't forget, you're not too late to join in, and the VIP, Stephanie will put the link there. Okay, so here are some of my compatriots. These are some of the colleagues that I worked with. We all work at either one of the sister institutions like Vassar, or one of the Ivy League institutions. This is a membership that you cannot buy into, but having just worked at Vassar, I'm part of this group, and we would meet 3 times a year. So it's a very prestigious group. If you're not familiar with the Ivy League and sister institutions, they're some of the oldest and most prestigious colleges in the country. And so when I set out to look for a job at a private independent school in Los Angeles, I was a hot commodity, because right about that time is also when college admissions was exploding. It was becoming serious business. It was becoming very competitive. And so that is how I got many yeses in the Los Angeles area. But let me sort of back up for a second and give you sort of a little history lesson. So the U.S. News and World Report, the college rankings, and I'm assuming you're familiar with that, but I don't want to assume anything. But that started about mid-'80s to late '80s. Now, that was about the time that the pool of applicants were sort of running low. So Gen X, which I am, is a much lower population, smaller population than the baby boomers, right? So colleges on the East Coast were starting to actively recruit on the West Coast, and they just needed to sort of find more bodies, more students. But by the late 90s and early 2000s, the millennials had appeared, and that is a much bigger pool of students and rising, graduating seniors. So that is when things started to explode and get exponentially more competitive. So those 2 things converge. Now, understand that these folks here, my colleagues, they are concerned about numbers. So on the college side, the explosion of applications was a good thing, because what that meant was they got to be more and more competitive, and the acceptance rate was now going down. And the more competitive a school is, or the more scarce there are of spots to be had, the more desirable they become, right? So all of a sudden, a school grows higher and higher on the rankings, and they get closer to number one. So colleges are caring about their rankings, while high schools are, especially private independent schools in Los Angeles, they were thinking, how do I make sure we hire some college experts so that our students can get into these colleges? Okay, so it makes sense. On one hand, it was a business. It is a business. It remains a business. It's all about the numbers on the college side, and it's all about the outcomes on the private independent school side. So there I was, and these are some of my colleagues and former students from Marymount. There I was, and now being hired there, my job was to utilize the information I had from working at Vassar and maximize that, be able to give my students key information. So I'll give you just one example. For example, I know from the college side that we can't admit a whole freshman class with just 5 majors. I sort of giggle because there are, some of you have maybe heard me say, there are 5 majors that every single rising applicant lists as their major, computer science, engineering, biology, communications, and psychology. Okay, those are the most popular majors. So with that knowledge, we would share with our girls at Marymount. We'd say, okay, let's find some related majors, some that you're still interested in. It has to make sense, but let's find other majors. And so we would tweak different things. Again, using different tips and strategies, we were able to guide them and give them the tools they needed. And I'm telling you, it worked. We had almost immediate success. The percentage of our girls that were getting admitted to top 100 colleges and top 25 colleges went really through the roof right away. So I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking, well, that worked because it was private girls' school and Dr. C, it's not going to work for me. I thought the same thing. In fact, I wanted to sort of take my show on the road and test it out. So later on, I became a principal and I did some more private consulting before starting my own company. But I promise you, once you have the information that I'm giving you and you actually decide you want to use it, you will become a dream builder. So here's an example. We have a partnership with Linwood Unified School District. Hi, Grace, you're in the house. And we're now in going into our 4th year. Linwood School District has a population where about 90% of the student body there is on free and reduced lunch, okay? An underserved population. But in my first year, I realized those counselors were doing the same thing that most public schools across the country are doing, which is feeding the students the same amount of colleges, the same handful of colleges, and encouraging them to all apply the same ones. Now, I know from working in college admissions that just doesn't work. Any college simply cannot take every single applicant from any one high school. So we started implementing something new and tweaking where the students were applying to. And you guessed it, happy results. It worked. If it didn't work, we wouldn't be in our 4th year of partnership, right? So there you go. I promise you, this is all about planning, about strategy, and about research, and understanding that college admissions is a business. And it just isn't the same as it was. Again, if you're a Gen X like I am, it was just like, hey, I think I'll apply to these colleges. And it always just worked out, and it's just not the same anymore. Okay, so give me a heck yes in the chat if you are doing what I said, listening, learning, and making decisions to take action. I will give you some action steps. So let me see that chat let's see it chat blowing up. Yes, okay, good. All right, what do we see, Stephanie?
Lots of yeses, lots of heck yeses.
Heck yeah. All right, I love this group already. Okay, awesome. So we're going to move on to point number 2, which is that the competition is closer than you think and why you need a copy of the school profile. Ooh, this is my favorite one today. So let's be crystal clear. The competition is not in Wisconsin. It's not from the school down the street. It's not in another state. No, the truth is most families do not realize that the competition that your child is going to encounter, their competition is sitting right next to them in their classroom. Okay, what do you mean, Dr. C? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me take a moment to tell you exactly how college admissions works on the other side. So in the fall season, we have what's called travel season and recruiting season. So between September and late October, I would travel and recruit. Then from November to February, I was reading applications one by one all day, every day. And I would take notes on each applicant, okay? But when it came time for committee, which was again about mid-February to mid-March, we would sit in a room and the whole state. We would pull everybody from my state. My states were Florida, Texas, Minnesota, and some others, and California. California alone took 3 to 4 days to get through all of the applicants just from California. So they were stacked up alphabetical by school group. So in other words, when it came time for me to present to the committee, I would present one student at a time from each school group. And then we would make decisions. We'd make decisions one at a time, but then we would make sure to look at the entirety of the school group to make sure we got it right. So we would decide on who was being admitted, being waitlisted, and being denied. So we were looking at them by the school group. The other thing you should know is that while I read the application and took notes, I had open next to me the school profile. So if you're wondering what a school profile is, I want you to write this down because you're going to do this later. And that is, you're going to Google the name of your high school plus the word school profile, and hopefully a PDF will come up. I would find the number of honors and APs from your school, the GPA distribution, the average test scores, the demographic information. I found everything I needed to know to understand the context of who you are and where you come from. So let's go back to the Wall Street Journal girl. I Googled her school profile, McKinney High School school profile, and it came up. Now, I'm telling you this because on the last page of the school profile gives me a list of the colleges in which students from McKinney High School, where they have been admitted over the last recent years. Now, I told you she was denied at 9 colleges. And when I looked at the list, about 7 of the 9 that she applied to, those colleges were not on the school profile. Why is this important? It's important because it tells me, the reader, that for those 7 colleges, nobody from that high school has been admitted there in recent years, which means there's not a relationship with that school and that high school. So that would have been the first sign to the counselor for the counselor to say to Texas Rockstar, hey, why don't you trim down instead of those 9, why don't you pick 4 and let's go find 5 others that will lead you to success. So again, the school profile is really key in setting you up for success. In just a few moments, you're going to meet Cosette live and in person, and I will let her tell you her story, but she has an incredible story that is very similar to Caitlin, our Texas rock star from the Wall Street Journal article. Miles, you're going to meet Miles' mom and dad this evening, who had a similar situation of someone they knew, and they wanted to avoid that and do everything they could for their only son. Spoiler alert, you guessed it, these two did take our courses, did follow our success formula, and did find success. Again, I'll let Cosette and Miles' parents tell you a little bit more. But again, this is not just for the privileged group of students I worked with at Marymount. This is really for the everyday student. So the goal from me to you is always choices. When we work with private and private students and our campers, the minimum goal is a batting average of 500. I'm a sports gal, so sorry. So you know that you're getting admitted to at least 50%, but most of our students see a 70 to as much as a 95% acceptance rate to the schools they apply to. Okay, are you listening? Have I dropped a few golden nuggets already for you? Are you seeing how you can become a dream builder? Type the word yes or heck yes, or let me have an amen even. Tell me that you're with me. Okay. All right, good. I see you. I see you. All right. And our last point today is about early relationships matter. So why you need to open these pesky emails. So here is where I'm going to really give you some good to-dos as well. So I loved my time at Vassar, and I traveled the country and spoke to ballrooms full of students and families who were interested in learning about Vassar. And occasionally I would get a handwritten note. Yes, I know. Can you imagine? Now I'm sure you can do it via email, but I would occasionally get a handwritten note. And that note was then filed in the application. So when I went to open the application and reviewed the applicant and take notes, I would see the note actually there in the folder. Now, I want to say something that I don't, I think that this is just me being candid, and I believe in giving information for those of you who are here live and in person. It's very true to say that college admissions is not objective because it is subjected to the humans who submit them and those who read them. And so I'm not embarrassed to say that I was moved. As a human, I was inspired by someone who would write a note. It showed me that they had good manners, right? We teach our students, please and thank yous. It showed me that they followed through. It showed me that they were demonstrating their significant interest in Vassar. So I thought, well, would be great if I could find a way to admit this person, because clearly we're a top choice. So there were lots of reasons to want to advocate for someone who just took the extra time. And most teenagers don't take the extra time to write a little note. Okay. And so I'm giving you this information because, to go back to our rankings, that college admissions is a business. Colleges use a lot of methods to help increase their stats. So that they rise up into the rankings. So early decision and early action are two ways that happens. And if you're part of our Dream College Academy, you'll learn all about what that means and how to do that. But I'm going to give you a tip right now, and that's called demonstrated interest. What that means is, I'm going to recommend that you get a family email, an email that can be used for the whole family, that you will use just for college admission information, and that you go searching for on the admission page at the schools of your choice and find the person who's in charge of your region. And that is the person who's going to be reading your application. And when you get those emails, when you subscribe to get newsletters and notifications, you're going to start getting emails. And I want you to open those emails because many colleges, not all, but many colleges are tracking your interest. So what that means is that you're getting like gold stars next to your name even before you apply. Okay, so that could help your chances down the line. So the old way, again, I already revealed my age. I literally rolled out of bed, took the SAT one time, decided on 5 random colleges except my one dream college, and got in. Yes, I did get some advice from Mr. Vargas, by the grace of God, from my mother, but I got that advice late in October, maybe early November of my senior year. If you were to use that same strategy today, like roll out of bed and decide you're going to apply to your dream college in like late October, that strategy would not work today. Okay. So the strategies that are working are the ones that I'm talking about. And all of these families have taken advantage of taking the advice and taking the guidance and allowing me to help and hold your hand through this process. So I know what you're thinking. You're looking at these students, you're going, there's no way. Yes, these students are not superhuman. They are not curing cancer. They are just ordinary students who made extraordinary decisions to chase their dreams. Curtis and Jules, you'll meet in session 3 of this challenge. You'll also meet Alexis. Both Jonna and Alexis I started working with in sophomore year. And Jalen and Julie. Oh, there's a lot of J's. I didn't realize that. So all of these students, again, they are ordinary students who made extraordinary choices to chase their dreams, and you can too. So again, the goal is choices. So listen, learn, and take action. I'm going to be handing you off to our VIPs in just a minute, but I want you to take a moment right now to type into the chat one thing that you heard me say. What is one thing that you heard me say, and or one action item that you'll do within the next 24 hours? So take a minute to do that, and I'll give you your marching orders. While you're doing that and thinking, I'm going to just remind you that my mom has a question for you. If you were going to treat this like a business and you could get a copy of your school profile and promise to build relationships early on, do you think you could help your child get admitted to 5 of their dream colleges? 3? Even 1? I mean, gosh, what would you give just if one said yes, one dream college? It would be worth it. I'm guessing it would be worth it, don't you think? These are my nieces, but I know for you, it wasn't long ago that your child was in elementary school, and now their future is in your hands. So be the superhero that you know they deserve. Your must-dos, and maybe you're already typing this into the chat. I'm going to ask Stephanie to share a few in a second. Your must-do from me, my perspective, is get a family email. I would say your should do is just start looking up 3 to 5 colleges and just look up the admission page and see if you can find your regional person, the person that will be reading your application. Something you also should do is Google your school profile and see if you can find it. If you cannot find it, I would on Monday call the office and get a copy. Ask the counselor to send you a copy. I promise you, it exists. Okay. All right. Before I hand you off, our first speaker is going to be Cosette. Oh, I can't wait for you to meet her. But Stephanie, what do we have? What are some action items?
By far, everybody has said, look up the school profile.
Oh, good.
And don't look into the same 5 majors.
Ooh, you guys are good. You learned. Oh, I love this so much. Okay, awesome. All right, I already see Cosette here. Okay, fantastic. All right. Oh, mi amor, I'm so glad to see you. I'm going to pin you so that you are spotlighted. There we go. Okay, everyone. Well, I gave you a little glimpse into this special treat that we have for you today. This is one of the most courageous and bravest woman I know. So I'm going to just let her tell you her story, and I'm going to just let you take it away. So welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. C. So picture this. It was 2018, senior year of high school. The seniors gathered around the hall, waiting eagerly for the annual billboard that was hung largely and proudly for everyone to see. This billboard was special. It had a list of all the seniors by name and the colleges they were admitted to underneath. Coming from a prestigious Catholic school, we had some big names: NYU, USC, UNC Chapel Hill, Harvard, to boast. But there was one student whose name was not on that billboard, and it was me. My name is Cosette Rosales, and I was the girl that did not get accepted to a single college in my senior year of high school. In high school, I ran by the motto that 9th and 10th grade didn't count, and it was time for fun. Within a blink of an eye, junior year came, and it was time to apply for colleges. I was only equipped with a 2-hour meeting with my college counselor and just pure delusion that I'll get into Stanford with my 3.2 in GPA. I was so unprepared, and everyone already knows how I ended up. It took me 2 more failed attempts as a transfer student of the college admissions process that I knew I was doing something wrong. Seeing how defeated I was in not getting into a school, that's when my mom found Dr. C. Dr. C proudly preached that anyone can get into their dream college, and she knew the keys to success to stand out. The tools for writing essays, finding out what makes you, you, since she was once an admission officer herself. I registered, devoured each module, and by the end of it, I felt so prepared to apply for the 3rd time for college. I applied in November, and I received news in April that I was accepted to UC Berkeley and my dream school, UC Santa Barbara, which I was rejected from as a senior in high school. Now, I graduated from Berkeley last May, and I have a job in my field where I design websites. Please don't be like me. Let me only be an example of what not to do. It took me 3 times to get accepted into a college, but take away the only resounding fact that I would not have graduated and got accepted into Berkeley without the help of Dr. Cynthia Colon.
Oh my goodness, you guys, this story is amazing. And those of you who are VIP, we're going to have a Q&A, and I know you guys are dying to ask some questions. And Cosette, we've remained in touch since meeting her years ago via Zoom in 2020, and then you came out to California, and we finally met in person. So, oh, you're part of the family. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing.
Here's the truth. For nearly 30 years, I have worked at elite private colleges and/or private high schools. I know what well-resourced families do to ensure college success, and I can tell you, if your child is enrolled at a public or religious high school, chances are she or he is already 5 steps behind. However, today is your lucky day. To get you ahead of your private school peers, I have a gift for you. I'm revealing the exact admission committee process we used at Vassar. It's all in my new guide, 4 questions admission officers ask when deciding who to admit or reject. You can go to drcynthiacolon.com/admit to get your copy. I share the 4 questions I used in the 12 minutes I had to review the entire application. If you've ever wondered what admission officers are looking for and how decisions are actually made, you're not alone. Take action now to get 5 steps ahead and begin increasing those acceptance letters. Again, that's Dr. Cynthia Colon, drcynthiacolon.com/admit. That is all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you for tuning in to Destination University. I'm Dr. Cynthia Colon. If this episode has in any way helped, fueled, or inspired you, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. You can subscribe to Destination University wherever you get your podcast. And while you're there, leave us a review. It sure does help a lot. By subscribing and reviewing, you help to grow the community of informed families across the nation. And if you haven't binge listened to our previous seasons, do it. With each episode, you'll learn a new tip, trick, or strategy for success. Start with episode 1, the one word every parent should remove. You'll learn my mom's secret to ensuring college success for her daughters. And once again, if you found value today, please share this episode with 3 families in the next 30 minutes. I'll be sure to see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, may you have a happy and sunny day. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon and get one step closer to your success.